start laying down or?
Oh no.
No.
Our schedules are so messed up.
Oh.
I mean, but to be honest, we're not really the kind of couple that like, all right, you have to do this and this and this and this. We're not like ball breakers.
You're just kind of like, whatever.
I'm a ball breaker by myself, but my wife has a little more understanding and stuff. So we kind of just shoot from the hip as far as what's going on, as far as the eating schedule, the sleeping schedule, stuff like that for both of them.
Listeners, Brent is back with a new baby. But how old is I don't know why my brain is not working.
Mabel is 5 and Hazel is 3 weeks.
That's a lot of changes for her too.
Yeah, she's working through those, and I would say sometimes better than others. That's
totally normal. Like, and you can't rush it or force it, or you end up with 2 little kids with like anxiety or OCD, and that's not good.
It's going to be difficult to avoid the anxiety. So,
hey, my daughter's going to start therapy, so it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
You know what's funny though? I have never wanted to. I kind of being anxious. It's tough at sometimes, to be an anxious type of person. But I don't like people that don't work with a sense of urgency.
No, so it works for you. Anxiety works for you.
It does. It doesn't work from anyone else though.
No, because we all fucking hate you.
Well,
love you, hate you, love you.
So I think that people that don't have anxiety kind of stress me out because they're not moving, like they're just kind of like the shoot from the hip kind of people. So like I had a friend in high school that was very just
yeah, like whatever.
Like, can't stuff. I mean, you can stuff, but you can't like stuff.
Right.
I was like, you need to move with conviction.
And your friends like, I feel conviction just fine, psycho, take a pill.
I don't know. I think I've always overcompensated for because I've never been the best at anything. So, and I know that going in. So what I do is I compensate by just working harder. And then it's not quite as ugly whenever it comes to fruition.
How does it feel to have everybody at home? How does it feel to be back?
There's a lot of adjustment going on, and I miss, the chaos, the standard chaos.
Oh, now it's not standard chaos.
It's chaos upon chaos. And so
it's chaos squared.
Yeah, cute. Chaos to the 5th power. That's kind of rough, and but my wife is doing really good. She's really kicking butt. I don't really have any complaints because everyone, considering how it could have went, everything's going pretty good.
Especially, yeah.
No one ended up in ICU. No one required any extra surgeries. So they're doing good. But we're doing less music, but we are doing more binge watching Netflix. And basically how it works, you turn it on and then you pass out. So,
right. Is there anything new that you've passed out to in the last 3 weeks that you have not passed out to before? Do you need recommendations?
I've got plenty of, I filled up our queue before it. And so
you're like preparing.
Because with young kids, even 5-year-olds, you really can't, you can do stuff, but you can't really, like, I'm going to build this house, or, you can't do like big projects when
I remember
in this phase. And Mabel's pretty good and she helps out sometimes, but I pretty much knew that, Julia's going to be recovering. I'm going to be trying to keep up with the bottles. Man, that's like a mountain. Just every time I turn around, dirty bottles are just popping up everywhere.
You're like, what is this kid doing? Filling its own bottle?
I know. I think she's crawling out of her prison cell and sneaking to the kitchen and making her own bottles and just throwing it everywhere or whatever. But
bottles. But
that it's been an adventure. Hey, I did want to tell you the Proprius.
I know it's hard to pronounce it. You're doing just about as good as I did.
That was a great.
Wasn't that good?
I really liked that. I thought you and Sound Animal sounded great together.
I really, really enjoyed her co-hosting. I haven't heard much from her since the co-hosting gig, but I think
did you ruin her.
I don't think I intentionally broke her.
No, y'all.
Giggity. Sorry.
See, that's kind of that twisted humor y'all had during that show.
Oh my God, she was funny. That's the sound of my bed.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
She's phenomenal, and she's so good on recording. She was so natural with it.
Y'all sound good together sonically.
Yeah,
I thought y'all's voices sound good together because
I hope she comes back. And she sounds so good in the recording. She sounded
good too.
Yeah, but she records good. I don't know what she did. I think she's just way fucking healthier than me.
The other thing I've been working on is, we had the live carousel recordings, Rick and I, and so Rick's actually he recorded 3 songs, but decided one was good enough.
Yeah, I'm following what he's doing.
And he did his, and it sounded pretty good. He hasn't released it yet, but I've been working on. I actually did 3, and they came out okay, and so now I'm trying to get a calendar on when to release them.
Yes,
because I'm trying to do some live stuff, but I don't want it to be the live stuff when I totally suck. So. Because you have those times where like you sing one song perfect every time, and then
you record it.
You need it to be perfect. It's like, have you ever played this song before? Yeah.
So are you guys having a new surge of the COVID where you are?
In certain places, we are having a surge. So
is that messing up the things that you have planned for in the future? Or are you still kind of hanging tough? Oh, sorry, New Kids on the Block. Don't judge me.
I can say it's hard to build a band again with this stuff going on because people don't want to travel. It's hard to book shows. I'm going to start reaching out to some booking agents and stuff and talking to them because I figure they already have relationships and stuff. The one blessing and terrifying thing about living in San Antonio is a lot of these people behave like there never was a COVID.
And so there are places to gig, but it's also like, do I want to?
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe you people wash your hands sometimes. It's okay. It's okay. You can say it. You're not the only one feeling that way. I posted something the other day or just today in my Facebook story that said, it was this guy just kind of looking at the camera like, you know what I mean? And said, the pandemic has taught me that a bunch of y'all would hide the zombie bite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like with my daughter.
Yeah.
Did you wash your hands? Yeah. Did you wash your hands with soap?
Right. Did you really wash your hands or did you just...
No, I have to actually say soap.
With soap. Yeah. I shouldn't have to do that with adults.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's funny. Did you do it with soap? Really? Did you? No. Okay.
Okay. Please. Yeah. Oh, 5 is fun for stuff like that. Five is when my daughter climbed on a counter, monkey swung from the cabinets to get the vitamins down and then proceed to take them and then woke me up to tell me she didn't wake me up because she was a good girl. You know why she's waking me up? Because she took all her vitamins.
That's funny. Did you take the whole bottle?
Half of them. Thank God it was the Flints. Yeah. I came out of the bedroom and the dog was totally judging me. The dog's like, really?
I was in here. You would have lost your mind if you would have seen what I was seeing.
5 is fun.
Oh man, this is funny. So lately with Mabel, she's having problems with her temper. And so basically she's cool and then she's not. And when she's not, she's like, I'm going to burn this mother down.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So she was really angry today. And so she decided, you know what? I'm going to discipline mom and dad. And so what she did to Julia was she took her water bottle and pushed a chair all the way to the refrigerator and put the water bottle on top of the refrigerator.
Mabel's funny.
She's putting it away from her. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to put it up. I'm 5.
If I can't have my juice box, you can't have your water bottle.
It's just funny. But it was funny. It was funny. It made Julia laugh too. Sometimes she does something when she's losing her mind that I know I should address, but I'm on the floor dying.
Yeah, right. And it's like my child is just like me. I am loving every second of this, but I know deep down I should be concerned, but it's so fucking funny.
Sometimes I'm actually proud. Sometimes I'm like, you little smartass. That makes me so happy.
But I can't say that. Go to your room.
Yeah.
And then you're like, did you see that, honey? Did you see that?
Hey, Mike, what are you doing?
Guys, how you doing?
Oh, look at you.
You know what? So you put a Google Meet in your email, so that's I was hanging out at Google.
You were not you were very much in the wrong place, but that's fine.
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
That's all right.
Well, man, thank you for joining us tonight. Sorry for the confusion, but it looks like you made it. You still have most of your hair?
I do.
Oh, I went for the hair again. Sorry about that. I talk about hair pretty much every episode.
It's okay. Keep doing you. Keep doing you.
That's all right. You got a nice shaped noggin there, dude. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good on him.
It does. It does.
So, question: have you been able to get your mother to say anything good about what you've released?
Yeah. Well, my wife, she tends to. She's my biggest fan, right? So. And yeah, she's funny. She's some songs she doesn't like, right? Some songs she does. So she's a tough critic. She's a great fan, though. Great fan. She goes to about probably 99% of my gigs. So
that's cool.
That is cool.
That's nice.
That's cool. Does she pay well? Does she tip well too?
She is the best roadie ever. She is. She can cube out my car like no one. No, she's great. We do the dinner date thing after the gig and all that. So I try to reward her with, food and wine and stuff. So
there you go. You're a romantic. After I work you to death.
Yeah, but we'll forgive anything for a good burger and some wine. So
absolutely. So I'm in the Finger Lakes, right? So you got to understand the Finger Lakes is nothing but good wine, good beer, good burgers everywhere. So didn't used to be that way 25 years ago. Bunch of grape growers that sold it to Welch's for jelly, right? Mm-hmm. Made very little money at it. And they decided that people actually like drinking wine, and they come up and replanted all the fields with, very high-end grapes and just do a wonderful job with wine. So,
where are you at?
I'm out of Corning. Corning is upstate New York, just north of the PA border.
Okay.
So, 90 miles south of Rochester, maybe, 2.5 hours kind of southeast of Buffalo. Really just a beautiful, right in the Finger Lakes, wine trail, the beer trail, distilleries too, a lot of distilleries. Yeah, we got a lot of my gigs are at these type of venues.
So would you say that you're close to the middle finger?
Right on, baby.
No, yeah, you're from New York, and yeah, it's like every time I look at you, you're playing a wine bar.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go where he's playing. That sounds like fun.
It is. I'll tell you, it's just, and you meet the best people. Honestly, the wineries and the breweries are my favorite. The wineries, I'll tell you, they'll get a bottle of wine. I kid you not. They'll just go out and hang out in the lawn, or at the table and just lean back and listen to music for 3 hours and drink wine. So
that's because wine is not like beer, and the people that drink wine are different than the beer drinkers.
They are.
But there's a place for beer drinkers too, Mike.
Yeah.
There is. Brent must be a beer drinker. I always envisioned you as like a whiskey drinker. I don't know why.
He looks that way, doesn't he?
He looks like
distilled spirits.
Yeah, he just looks like, look, I just need some Angel's Envy in a fucking quiet room. Leave me alone.
My favorite drink is Crown and Coke.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, I can see it.
I love that. And I love
nice. That is
tequila.
Nice. No, that is
I love tequila.
That hurts too much, dude.
I love tequila. Please don't misunderstand me. I love tequila. Tequila turns me into somebody else.
Does tequila make your clothes fall off?
She likes to get naked. It gets hot. It's not cute.
I was going to say for tequila, if you get the bottom shelf, it's going to hurt. If you get the top shelf or, mid shelf, you're going to be okay. But if you go bottom shelf, because I did that for many years.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Now either I drink, mid-level or nothing at all. But,
I'm mostly a beer drinker, honestly. But so when I say beer, right? So I'm talking craft beer. I'm kind of a beer snob now, and I'll be honest with you.
I think as we age, we become more snobby. Honestly,
but see what I grew up on. So I'm from Rochester, right? So Rochester is home of Genesee Brewing, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of regional. It's kind of pushed down the East Coast and all that, and it's it was cheap beer. But, it's actually, you look back at it now, they actually have craft beer there. So, and then I grew into all the craft breweries, which I love IPAs. I mean, I'm kind of crazy about them. So
cool. This just turned into a alcohol.
I know.
I mean, all we need to do is throw in. It's fine. The one I released today, we had a whole conversation about bras, so it's fine. Don't worry about it. What got you started in music in the first place? I know we just sideswiped.
So it's definitely an interesting story, right? So I got to be honest with you. I took I'd like to say a 20-year hiatus. However, it was a little longer. So I actually started in music way back in 6th grade. I took classical guitar lessons, right from school back when they used to do that. And, I read sheet music. I play the arpeggios. I play the bass line, the melody, all that stuff. And I went to, kind of junior high, and it wasn't cool to do that, right? So I kind of skipped out. And then I want to say freshman year, basically I was in chorus. I don't know why, right? And I took music theory and all this stuff just for something to do. And we got a new band director came in, and he comes into the chorus going, "Does anyone know how to play bass?" And I go, "Well," I said, "I can read sheet music, and I played classical guitar. So yeah, I bet you I can do bass." So the next thing is I went out and I bought a Kramer Flying V sort of bass with the aluminum neck, which was a beautiful bass, super heavy, right?
Right.
I bought a big old Yamaha 100 watt amplifier. And next thing I know, I'm playing in jazz band and I'm playing in his pop band on the side. So
how old are you when you started playing bass? You weren't 6, were you?
14.
Okay. All right. Cause I was like carrying around that 100-watt amp, man, would be some serious work for the 6-year-old.
Yeah. It was heavy.
I wouldn't say 14 starting late.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. I loved it though. I mean, so this is back when, break time was Molson Golden and playing Pac-Man. It was a lot of fun. And I did that, I did it, summers and weekends and all that type of stuff. And then kind of went off to college for a couple of years and tried to find myself. And I didn't do so well, but then I got back out. I actually did play jazz band in college. That was like the best part of college for me. And, we did an album, right? It was kind of cool. And we toured down in Washington, D.C. and Florida. And then I got into bands, right? So I kept playing the bass. Why? Because no one else wants to play the bass. So I played the bass and did a little bit of singing, right? And we did kind of the rock band thing and, 4 or 5 guys. And that was what I did. So I booked all the gigs. No one else wanted to book gigs, right? So I went to restaurants, bars. And at that time, it was the smoky bars were the epitome of where you played. They were just dives, right? And but that's what it was. And every guy would make $50 and you go, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. So
some things don't change, man.
They really don't. They really don't.
Things are the same.
And what's interesting, so I enjoyed that, right? Now, one of my best friends actually, he was a music major. He played saxophone, right? And I played bands with him, multiple bands. And a great friend of mine, been a friend forever. And so once I left, and I was in the Rochester area, I went down to Atlanta, Georgia for a couple of years, just took a different job and kind of got away from it, right? And I tried playing a little bit in a couple of bars, but nothing really sparked down there. So So basically I came back, I raised a family with my wife, and I stopped music. I stopped cold turkey, and I just forgot about it. Right. Which seems crazy. I don't know how you could do that. Right. I love playing in bands. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago, I kid you not, I saw one of my old bandmates. He was playing at Letchworth State Park for an auto show. Cool. And I watched him. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that feeling. Yeah,
I missed it.
Oh boy. You know, and you do. If you've been a musician, you've done that. It's like, holy cow, what was I doing? Right.
Well, are you talking about, when you're talking about that feeling, are you talking about the feeling of playing live or recording a song, writing a song, or all of it?
So it's the whole thing. It's the feeling of playing live, you know, feeling good about playing, watching the audience reaction. It's that high, right? It's that absolute high when you play. And I'm like, wow, I forgot about that. And so I thought about what was I going to do, right? So I could have gone and played bass, right? And I could have done that. I could have done the band thing. And I'm like, you know, I think I'm going to try something different, right? I told my wife, I said, I'm going to do a solo acoustic act. And he says, you can't do that. I said, why not? You can't sing.
Watch
right?
me, woman. Watch me.
So that's funny, right? So if you know me, it's like, I'll do anything I put my mind to, right? And I'm a bull about it. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do this, right? So I went back and I pulled all the tunes I used to play, started working them up with acoustic. And I actually went out. I took voice lessons, like 8 voice lessons, because I never learned to sing properly, right? And be able to breathe and all that. And I love this story. So the lady was probably about 35 years old, and she was blind, and she had perfect pitch. Unbelievable woman. Every time I would go for a lesson, she'd sit there and she'd start feeling my cheeks, right? Oh, you haven't shaved today, have you? A little rough here. And, and she was just a ball. I mean, absolute ball. And she taught me how to breathe, taught me how to sing. And the best thing she ever taught me was, listen, drop it a step, right? This key's too high for you. So I used to try to sing it in the original artist's key, and it's just, I don't have a high voice. And so that's where I started making it my own. And then I went, I did the cover tunes, and then basically I said, I wrote one song a long time ago, right? And I'm like, let me try this again. Let me try it again. I think I'm a little smarter, right? And what I didn't know, I looked up guys like you, Brent, and I looked at what you did, and I looked at other artists, and I'm like, I think I can do this, right?
Yeah, you were like, man, that Uncle Brent sucks. I can pound his ass into the ground.
Oh, no, man. I love you too. I love that Texas rock, man. It's
good. He's good. And he's always beating himself up. It gets on my fucking nerves is what it does. God.
Tequila Knights is like
Tequila Knights.
Oh, my favorite. It just grooves.
That song was so
good.
I'm just going to say this. I wrote that with an Australian, and she brought the lyrics, and I was like, I got to do something. I mean, how many songs do you talk about? Tequila, a garden gnome,
it's so clever.
It is. That's my favorite, Brent. Honestly, I'd love to emulate that. And the interesting thing about writing for me, right? So I probably write backwards because I start with the lyrics, because melody was something I've had to work on, right? I go with the lyrics, I go with the story. I do a lot of different things, right? I look out the door, look out the window, I listen to people, I look everywhere for ideas, and I write the story, right? And then I put it to music. And
that's not backwards, because when I write, it can happen 50,000 different ways. So it's sometimes I'll have just these words, or sometimes I'll be singing at the place I sing the best, which is the shower, and I'll get a melody.
Yeah.
So then I have to get to my phone to get the melody, and then sometimes I get the music, or it starts with the riff, so I think you could pretty much do it anyway. The thing I had 2 questions I wanted to ask you. You actually went to the Eastman School of Music, right?
I did.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
What was interesting, so in high school, I played jazz band, right? And like most schools, they have teachers kind of come in and go out, right? And there was a student teacher who was a musician, right? And he just graduated Eastman. And he goes, you know what? I said, you should go take some bass lessons. I go, really? I said, where? He says, go to Eastman and I'll give you the guy's name. Right. So I actually went for an entire summer. I want to say it was probably my senior year. And I took bass lessons from an up and coming, bassist from Eastman. He had me writing bass lines and everything. The guy was tough. But what a great experience. What an absolute, because that's a renowned music school right in Rochester. It was just a great experience. So
did you get to go on scholarship, or did you go in as a bass major, or did you go in as a classical guitarist? How'd you go in?
So it was interesting. So actually this guy, he was finishing up his master's program and he was doing lessons. So actually I went and just took private lessons from him one-on-one, and we'd go through melody lines and bass lines and everything. So it was great. It was great.
And the second question had to do with the lady that was touching your face. What range did she identify you in? Did she identify you as a bass one or a baritone?
I think a bass one, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. You have a very thick voice, Mike.
I do. I can't help it.
Going back to your music in general, your approach in general, you were saying, I look around, I write what's going on, I tell a story. All of your stuff, even if there's a tinge of darkness to it, it's very hopeful. Like,
yeah,
I noticed that listening to Green Day, The End of Time, which should be a really dark song, but you spin it around in the end. And then Flying in the Sky is just a vacation song. But
it is.
Did you want to kind of talk about Green Day and what was driving it?
First off, I love the production that I did on it. And I love the way that whole thing came about. So we're all familiar with COVID, right? Still here, hasn't gone away. So
only getting worse.
It's gotten worse, right? So back when it first came out, right? So I'm an engineer by trade, right? I do robotics, believe it or not. So I was very fortunate when COVID hit and everything shut down. I was able to go home, sit in my wife's crafting room, open up my laptop and still work, right? I did, Teams meetings and all sorts of meetings with customers and clients and my engineering team. So Green Day came about from that 14 weeks that I was sitting home in the crafting room. And you got to envision the room. So it's a small room. It's brightly colored. There's windows all around, right? So every time I'm working, the sun is just blasting right in and I'm going, what a crappy time to be, locked out of work and everything else. But you know what? But then that sun is just shining, wow. I mean, that's what I want. Right. So if you listen to the lyrics on Green Day, it's basically my life over that 14 weeks. Right. So I get up in the morning, I shower, I get dressed, I walk around the corner and I start my day. Right. So that's really how that song came about. I can't write a sad song. I've got to make it happy. I don't know. I just can't do it.
I don't think you shower every day. That's just a lie.
Yeah, probably not.
But you know what really caught my ear on that one was the second verse when you were talking about the video chat and the Facebook Live and stuff. And so the video chat, I was thinking, well, this is probably related to a work type of thing. But the Facebook Lives, can you provide some insight into that?
Yeah, it was interesting. So I think we all kind of learned that, what was going on was, my internet was okay. It was okay for emails, right? Streaming was there, but we didn't, we had Netflix. We didn't stream really hard. But what I found doing all these Teams meetings and stuff, it basically became, super important to, sorry, my mic's dropping here a little bit. Super important to basically, be able to communicate, do the video conferencing, the video chatting, and things don't always work, right? Mm-hmm. You're sitting there in the middle of a important meeting and it just goes to shit. And you're like, what the hell, right? So, and then the Facebook Live, I'll be honest with you, I like performing in front of people. I did one live and it terrified me, absolutely terrified me, because there's no one there.
There's no one there, but there's people maybe there, or they're going to come in and see it 3 days later. Oh God, it's horrible.
It's what?
Horrible.
You know what is there though? That damn red recording light.
It is.
That's what terrifies you. It's like anytime that light goes on, I pee my pants, man.
I swear.
It's horrifying. It is. And I got to get over it, right? I know a lot of musicians did a lot of live concerts and stuff. And, I lost over half my gigs. I was so fortunate to still half of them, right? I felt really good about it.
the coffee, see the morning sun. I'm starting to rise and shine. I put on my clothes, blue jeans and shirt, get to work on time. Go next door and start my day. Life's gonna be okay. Moving along the pace is fast, making it through the day. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where I know that I can be. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where the sun still shines on me. What's going on with my video chat? It's really not the same. Facebook Live, I miss my friends, I feel like going insane. Looking out the window now, the world all stopped with me. Thinking about this ending soon, I can't wait till I'm free. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where I know that I can be. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where the sun still shines on me. Talk about the riverside, the feeling's just the same. Keep on going, dreaming about the life we now have made. Seeing lovers in my mind, the waves by the sea. Walking along and talking about the things that ought to be. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where I know that I can be. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where the sun still shines on me. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where I hope that you will be. Well, I'm wishing on a green day where I hope that you're with me on a green day.
So let's talk about a little bit about what inspired you to go back. I mean, I know you said you missed it. You saw your friend performing. Was there any other musicians you were hearing that other than Uncle Brent? That you were like, oh my God, I got the bug again.
My time was the 80s and early 90s, right? So, we used to play Bruce Springsteen a lot, Bob Seger, all those guys. And when I went and saw my old bandmate playing, he's playing those same tunes. And I'm like, this is great music, right? Yeah. Great melodies, great groove, just put together very well. I'm like, I just miss that, right? So, and that was really a lot of my inspiration, right? And as I grew over the last 3 years writing, right, then I started focusing on guys like John Mayer, and I'm like, holy caroli, that guy can play, he can sing, he can write, he can do everything. So there's always, in my mind, there's always a benchmark that is so high, right? Mm-hmm. I just have so much to learn, and I just keep picking up new stuff from everyone around me. And, that's the fun part, right? So I started out writing with just an acoustic guitar, and I do a phone video, put it on Facebook going, hey, what do you guys think? Right. And the words might've been good. The melody wasn't really great, and I'm starting out. And so now I'm learning more how to do it and getting better reactions. Right. And now it's a question, but it's so much fun to actually record it for real, like in a studio setting, which is now here, right? This is my room, right? Nice. And put that together, and I love seeing that whole thing just come together musically.
I enjoy listening to your stuff because you're always going to do something that I'm not expecting, and some of it is because you're a bass. You can sing some baritone stuff, but you have some lower registers that most people don't use.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
and so that creates a whole different, because you can't hit it like I don't know, like Dolly Parton would hit it. You're just not going to hit those notes. You're not. So you find a good way to be compelling, but also complement your voice. And so I think that's really awesome too. Sorry, that's all I got to say.
And that, honestly, that came from the vocal lessons, right? So the best thing I ever learned was she said, bring it in your range, bring it in your range. And so anytime I write a song, I write it for my range. I do. And what I find is when I write it for my range, it just sings so easy, right? And just to talk about songwriting, at least in my opinion, right? So I got two things that I'm going for, right? So I'm going for, it's got to be hooky. And it's just the way I want it to be hooky. I want it to be memorable, and I want it to be easy to sing, right? And that's kind of my metrics. And that's kind of my focus as I write and I look at it and review it and go back through it. So.
And speaking of, that leads us to the next song. Tell me about End of Time.
So.
Because kind of went right in there.
It's very interesting. I like that song too. And it's interesting that, Brent picked up on that one as one of his favorites. And, I like it too. And I basically, put that one together going, let me take a sad song, a breakup song. Right? And I try to write, common things, people experience and what can you do with that? Right.
Right. But it's always, your stuff's almost, it's like, God, that should be gut wrenching. And you've somehow spun it to make it positive, which I know several people who would love that. How do you do that?
It's funny. And I'll tell you. So I'll tell you a secret. So my daughter, I have three kids, right? And they're all grown up. And so my daughter comes up to me one day and she goes, Dad, you write all these songs, right? I says, why don't you write one about me? And I go, really? I said, this could be fun, right? And I said, honey, what are we going to write about? She says, why don't you write about my single life? And I go, isn't that too cool, right? I said, honey, do you have any content? She goes, oh boy, do I.
Same.
It's and it's tough, right? And I would not want to be out in that world these days. Honestly, I would not.
Wait a minute. So that song, The End of Time, is based off a relationship your daughter had?
No. So and where I'm headed with this one is, so you talk about, I take a sad song and turn it, right? So single life is the same thing, right? I wrote the song all about, looking for love in the wrong places, right? It's just shitty out there. And at the end of that particular song, Single Life, which is not published, but it's, I play it out. My daughter hates me for it, but she finds her Prince Charming. So End of Time, I'm taking that same premise. Life is crap, right? It's the end of the world because you just broke up with me. And you know what? I got to move on. I got to figure this out, right? Yeah. And it's going to get better. And I try to progress that, through the song. So it's, I cannot have a sad song.
Yeah. You know why I think I like that song? That's The End of Time is probably my favorite song by you, because there's a lot of things going on with the guitar, and I'm kind of a guitar guy. Like, you have this picking pattern that's going on, and then you have a strumming pattern, and then all of a sudden something else will pop up, and I'm like, oh, but the chorus is really nice, how you transition from the verse to the chorus. And then my favorite line in that song is like, how did we get so far out of whack, crumbling like a brick in a wall or on a wall? I thought that was very vivid. You can see a wall and it's starting to break down and you're one of those bricks. I thought that was just...
And it is. It's one of those things, like, if you're the one that someone's breaking up with, it's like it's coming from out of nowhere, right? And that was kind of, how did we get so out of whack? And that was kind of my perception of it, right? How would you feel? And that's kind of how I looked at it.
I have a question. Sure. It's not at all musically involved, but did she find a Prince Charming in real life? Did she meet somebody?
She did.
Please tell me she did. Yay!
She did.
Do you like him?
I'm so happy.
A very important question.
I do. Yes! So he's a great guy.
Walking down the road at the end of time, thinking about the days and the sun, looking at the sky for some kind of sign. I keep on thinking I'm the one. The day that you left me and left me alone, I think about the time that we had. Keep on moving forward, try it on my own. I keep on feeling kind of sad. I see a fork in the road, it's the end of time. It's the end of time, 'cause what's the cost? Here I am, I'm feeling lost. It's the end of time, I'm on my own. Time to move on. I'm all alone. Family and friends keep saying that we're through. Keeps on turning in my mind. Days pass by like stories on the view. Working feels like such a grind. Steady as it goes, my life is off track. Makes me feel sort of small. How did we get so far out of whack? Crumbling like a brick on the wall. I see a fork in the road, it's the end of time. It's the end of time, and what's the cost? Well, here I am, I'm feeling lost. It's the end of time, I'm on my own. Time to move on, and I'm all alone. Feels like it was yesterday. We were so in love. Somehow we have lost our way. We didn't know enough. I hope you are so happy now. It's not the end I want. Think I'll fill the void somehow. Maybe we'll meet again. I see a fork in the road, it's the end of time. It's the end of time. What's the cost? Well, here I am, I'm feeling lost. It's the end of time, I'm on my own. Time to move on, I'm all alone. I'm all alone, I'm all alone.
So you said something earlier about co-writes, learning from other people. Have you done that, and how many times and what songs?
I haven't. The only time I've ever maybe done it is way back when, I was 20 and my music major buddy helped me kind of get through my first song,
I think that
was
counts.
about the only co-write,
Really?
Yep.
So are you looking for people to co-write with?
I do want to get there. I've got, right now I'm extremely busy putting together my next EP, right? I gotta write about 10 to 12 songs here before the spring release.
Oh, wow.
And so just talking about that just for a brief second. So Brent, you can appreciate this, right? So, we don't just have one guitar. We have
I was going to say,
guitars.
How many guitars are behind you right now?
So
because I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.
Yeah,
okay.
There's a bunch, right?
What's your favorite one?
So,
you can't ask him that. The
yes,
kids
I can.
Will hear. The
Shut
kids
up.
will
Which
hear.
one is your favorite one?
My favorite guitar is the first acoustic I owned, and I bought it for $200. It is a Guild D44 it was built in 1972, right?
Oh, wow.
And I first started back playing out with that acoustic, right? And the first thing I did is I drilled out the peg and put a pickup in it, which people would cringe, right? You take a vintage guitar and drill it out.
Yeah, but at the time, it wasn't a vintage guitar.
No,
Initially, you needed it. Yeah.
No, but those guilds are like tanks, man. They are just so well built. Sometimes they don't have a lot of sound because they're so well built. Yeah,
but you're right. They are a kind of a dead sounding guitar, but I love the looks. I love the feel. I lowered the action a little bit, right? In the old days, they wanted it really high and heavy strings, and so. But that was how I got back into playing. And I'll be honest with you, my equipment sucked. Right, my PA blew up within the first month. I decided to buy a new PA. I have my original mic stand and that guitar, and that's about it. Everything else died. So. The good news is all the equipment it's more reasonably priced, and my gosh, the quality is unbelievable, unbelievable. So my next EP, right? So I'm gonna, I'm gonna write 10 to 12 songs. I'll put it out to the Facebook, fan land, and have a kind of vote, on what their favorites are, the top 5, top 6, right? So, and I'm talking about how many guitars I have, right? So I just bought a Fender Tel.
Is that the yellow one?
Yeah.
Is it American, Japan, Mexican?
It's a Mexican Tel, right? It's a player. And the first thing I did is I removed the modern bridge and I bought the Fender vintage bridge and I put it on there. So So here's my plan. So I'm going to do my next EP is going to have the same acoustic mixes that you're familiar with. I'll call it the A side. The B side is going to have the full band, right? So I'm going to put the electrics on, the electric bass, which I haven't played in years, but I'm going to play it, right? And I'll have drums on and everything. So I'm very excited to offer both of those, just to give fans a little bit different, taste of what we can do.
So I have an idea of what kind of acoustic guitar player you are, and that should pretty much transition across to the electric too. So what I hear on guitar is you're very intricate. You're trying really hard to hit the metronome beats right on top, and you have a good flow, a good give and take in your mixes between the acoustic strumming and the picking, or when you're playing riffs.
Yep.
In that too. So what kind of bass player are you?
So I'm probably more or less a traditional bass player, right? I'm just hitting the bottom, keeping it full and all that. I'm not a melodic bass player. However, I will tell you that my guitar playing has improved based on, it has to, right? As a solo, I have to improve on it. So I'm kind of excited to go back and relook at the bass and see what I can do with the bass and make it a little more melodic. So
when I go to Mike's show, I'm going to see some things. I'm going to see the acoustic guitar. I'm going to see the suitcase drum. What am I going to see on your pedal board?
So interesting. The pedal board is not really sophisticated. So it's a Boss VE8. And I'll tell you why I bought that, right? So the first thing I thought I had to have, my PA I had to replace, right? New PAs don't have reverb or echo or delays on them. They're dry. They're very flat. So I said, well, I got to get something with delay or a reverb on it. And oh, by the way, I need something to plug my acoustic into. And I wasn't thinking of buying an acoustic amp, so I want to plug it right into the the PA and stuff. So the Boss VE8 actually does both. And it had one other feature that I liked at the time. Now I don't use it now, but I did. It has a beautiful harmonizer on it, right? And it's like scary, accurate, unbelievable. You have 3-piece harmony right behind you, right? With just a push of a button. And so I used to play out when I first started with that. It was really cool. And one of my fellow friends says, dude, your voice doesn't need that. Just don't use it. I'm like, okay. So I dropped the harmony, but I still use that Boss VE8. That's my setup. I alternate my acoustics. I play a Taylor 214 DLX, and I play a Martin D10 Road series, right? I got guitars that I wasn't going to get hurt, right?
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Those are some expensive guitars you just mentioned.
Yeah, there's more expensive ones. I wanted something that I could beat on a little bit. So, but
those are the ones you beat on?
Yeah. So, you know what? In live gig, things happen, right? So, and it's not necessarily anyone but my own fault sometimes, right? I do guitar swaps, and once in a while I'll bonk the mic stand. Because you remember my setup, I have a black 5 foot by 7 foot piece of rug, right? That is my world that I live in when I perform. And sometimes I'm on less of that 5 foot by 7 rug. Sometimes I get a little more. So, it can be tight. So at my gigs, I've got 2 guitars in a rack, right? I've got my suitcase drum kit, and I'll tell you about that, right? So when I first started, I couldn't just be an acoustic player because I'm an okay acoustic player, but I wanted something new, right? So I got a stomper block, and I don't know if you've ever seen one of those. It's a piece of wood with a pickup in it, right? And you beat your foot on it and it makes a clunk, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of like a bass drum. And then the other half of that, I have the cutest little thing. My wife laughs at me. It's a shoe tambourine. So it's got a piece of Velcro, and you put it on your toe, and boom, chick, right? While I'm playing and I'm singing. And so the problem with that setup is I went on playing that first year. Every place I played was concrete. It was ceramic tile. It was hardwood decks. I'm like, my God, I'm getting shin splints because you got to hit pretty hard to get the resonance out of them. So that's when I Shaky Graves, someone put me onto. If you've ever seen Shaky Graves, the guy's phenomenal guitar player. Shaky plays that suitcase drum kit, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going there. And I actually hooked up with Pan American Drums, and love those guys. And they built my suitcase drum kit for me and set me right up. And I'll tell you, every gig I get multiple comments on it. It's usually the one, how do you play, sing, and do that at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And, I kicked my ass to start, but I figured it out.
Yeah, that thing sounds really good too. I mean, I think I've only heard it recorded, but it sounds good. I mean, it's pretty fat, has a nice sound to it, So you said on your next album, you're going to have the Stripdown and then you're going to have the full band.
Yep.
So are you going to have a live drum set on your full band, or are you going to cheat?
I'm going to cheat for now, right? Just to see, because, and here's the selfish motivation, right? So I'm very picky on how I arrange the songs. So I want to be able to fit all parts in a certain way.
Right.
So at least that's my story for now, right? We'll see how well I do at it. But
so talking about the new EP that's going to be out, the other song Brent really wanted to talk about is going to be on it, Flying in the Sky. So tell us about that song.
So one of the opportunities I had, so, COVID was kind of still wrenching everyone's vacation a little bit. We were able to go out to Seattle this last summer, right? And take a vacation and do all the touristy stuff. And from New York, I've got 5 hours out there on a plane and 5 hours back on the plane. And, my wife will read a book. I sit there on my phone, right? And I'm writing songs. I'm like looking at all these people around me and I'm listening to the plane. I'm watching what people are doing. And Flying in the Sky was, I kid you not, I wrote that on the plane in probably 20 minutes.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, the harmonies on that song are really badass. I really like. Did you have to have some surgical intervention to reach some of the notes?
I'll tell you, man. One of those things you talk about, Brent. You do one thing. Oh, I got to work on that. You do it. I got to work on that.
Yeah.
So harmonies is right on my. I got to work on them. That is. I can't get any higher than those harmonies, and I struggle. I just am hitting them.
I figured someone difficult. was squeezing. But no, they came across really good though.
Yeah.
They sounded good. I was like, how is he hitting these notes? This is pretty high. The other thing was, when you released the video for that song already, is that all footage of you actually recording it live? You playing the suitcase drum, you playing the guitar, playing the riffs. Did you just record your whole production process and then mix it and put it together?
So what I did on it, so I actually recorded everything ahead of time first and produced it. And then I went back through and I played along with those parts, right? So I'm actually singing, I'm actually playing the drum, I'm actually doing all that. However, I did use the production mix to in the background of the video. So, and I did that because I just wanted people to understand this is kind of how I do it, right? This is how I put it together. Thought it'd be interesting and all that. So,
yeah, it was really cool.
That's like a behind the scenes kind of feel.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's when I saw your suitcase drum and I was like, this motherfucker's serious.
Yeah, it's amazing what sound you get out of it. I think it's a tambourine and a 16-inch tom that's cut in half, right? So
it's really awesome.
Knew what some muffles could do.
Well, I'm packing my bags and thinking about the trip on the road to Terminal 2. Standing in line with my shoes off and walking my way on through. Well, I pass through the line, collect myself, move on to the traveler gate. Board the plane and take my seat, made it here, I'm not too late. Well, I'm flying in the sky. Like a bird with wings, I know that I can fly. Well, I'm flying in the sky. On my way back home with a feeling you can hide. I see the moonlight shining in the sky so bright and I don't feel so alone. Cruising on high above the clouds and the jet just humming along. I lay right back in the seat and let my dreams all come on by. Well, I'm moving along and flying in the sky. Well, I'm flying in the sky. Like a bird with wings, I know that I can fly. Well, I'm flying in the sky. On my way back home with a feeling you can hide. I'm falling to the sky and bumping side to side, free falling like Tom. Ears popping, jaws aching, tray tables up and seat backs rise as one. Dropping for landing, hit the ground, hear the air brakes coming on. The passengers up and cell phones turning on. Well, I'm flying in the sky. Like a bird with wings, I know that I can fly. Well, I'm flying in the sky. On my way back home with a feeling you can hide. On my way back home with a feeling you can hide. On my way back home with a feeling you can hide.
Yeah, it makes that little dark part of my heart lighten a little bit, which is dangerous.
It gets on my nerves. So what advice would you give to a new songwriter or a new independent musician?
Oh boy, that's just go for it. I mean, there's so many things around you. Just look around you, open your eyes, open your ears. I mean, there's just absolutely everything's wonderful, right? You just look at it differently.
And then write about it.
Exactly.
You're really good about looking at what's around you, and
you're very good at describing it.
Yeah. See, when I write songs, I kind of don't. I just let them come out, and sometimes you get weird words in it, because I have a psychology major with a sociology minor, and so all these therapeutic words, usually they're not the pleasant therapeutic words, will work their way into it. And so then when I'm working with the co-writer, they're like, okay, why are we using deterioration right here? Let's choose it was bad or something like that. But you do a good job of I guess setting up the canvas, and then you paint the picture.
No, I appreciate that. I do. I got to be honest. It's so much fun. It is so much fun to create, and it can be frustrating, right? It can be very frustrating. So I got one I'm working on right now that I don't like to write a song and leave it. I hate that, right? I like to write it and keep going and get it done, right?
And get it done right, yeah.
Exactly. You listen to anyone else, they'll say you got to write, 1,000 junk songs to get 20 great ones, right? And
I've actually heard that advice on the show.
And I'm like, you know what though? For me, I don't buy that because I can't write 1,000 crappy songs because I don't have time. Every song that I write, I give it 110%, and I will tweak and tweak. Now, I don't do it to obsessiveness where I'll be months and months and months. I get it done, but I will tweak that to the best of my ability at that point in time, and then I'll release it. And that's how I do it, right? So if I don't like it, if I don't think it's hooky, if I don't think it's singable, I'm like, okay, I got to change it. Right. And this one I'm working on right now, I went through that process. I struggled just a little bit more because of how I set the groove, but I'm finished. I'm in production on it now. So I got another one coming out here to the YouTube world. So
speaking of YouTube, where can my listeners find you?
So anything, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, it's Mike Lucey, Lucey. Acoustic. There's no spaces, no dashes.
All one word.
All one word. Blob it together. Mike Lucey, Lucey. Acoustic. Just one more tidbit. I think you'll find this interesting, right? So my CD, right? This is my first EP I put out, and I actually put out a CD, and I know Brent's seen it and all that. So one of the interesting things on it, you'll see some images on it for the EP. That are actually, these were all taken in downtown Corning, New York, right? So I took these, and I didn't actually take the images. And I think if you look, you'll see there's a car in the background, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a Chevy Malibu. So I'm going to give you a real quick synopsis here of how this all occurred, right? So I got back into music, right? Like 3.5 years ago. So the first year into it, this is back with my Guild D44, right? So my future daughter-in-law got in a car accident. She was 6 months pregnant, right? So wonderful lady, baby was fine, right?
She okay?
I had it was a Toyota Camry to save your life and the baby's life. So anyhow, they had no money to buy another car. So my wife and I said, well, let's give him my car, right? And I had a 2010 Malibu, so we just gave it to him. So anyhow, I had to go out and hurry and buy a new car. And this particular car I bought because I like the rims.
That was it. That was it for you. That's how I buy cars. I'm like,
I'm buying it.
I'm like, does it get more than 2 miles to the gallon? Is it look all right?
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I love the rims, right?
You love the rims.
Blacked out rims. They're on a white car. And so anyhow, long and short of it, being the engineer, right? So the creative side, I look at this car, I look at the angles, I look at everything they did to this car, and I'm like, you know what? I bet you the engineers don't hear any praise at all. So I wrote an email to General Motors saying, listen, I absolutely, and this is the geek in me, right? So I absolutely love this car. I said, tell the engineers, man, they did a bang up job. And here's why I love this car, right? And next thing I know, I'm getting a reply back from the art director going, you know, we love your story. How would you like to be featured in the Chevy New Roads magazine?
Sure.
Go, oh, okay. I said, really? And they said, yep. They said, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so the process was this, right? So they hooked me up with a writer, and I went through the whole story, whether we did 2 hours on a Teams call or a Skype call. And she's like, this is great. This is absolutely great, right? And oh, by the way, you're a musician. This is awesome, right? So I say I play out in bars and restaurants, and so it went from that. And then they sent a photographer came up from Brooklyn, New York. The art director flew in from Detroit, and we all met in downtown Corning, right? So this was in early February, and you may not see it, but there's actually snow on the ground. I'm wearing an Armour, an Under Armour shirt. At 28 degrees, freezing my tail off. And we're doing a photo shoot. And we went to the local coffee shop. We did some photo shoots. We did the traditional clock tower right in town. And just
you gotta have the clock tower.
So, and all I told these guys, I said, I didn't get paid for it, right? And I didn't care. That was fine. I said, however, I do want some of the images, right? Mm-hmm. And they gave me the right to publish and post these. And I said, this is great. So that was the way I started marketing myself, right? So that
you got some good
on my EP.
You got some good marketing tools. I never saw any posts about the article. Has that article come out already?
Oh, it's been out. So it was 2017. Yeah. So I can actually send you a link to it. It's still live.
You should post it on Facebook or Instagram cool. so I can say no shit. Oh my gosh.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, Mike, I want to thank you so much for your time. I hate to cut us off, but it's a new thing I'm doing is cutting people off, because if not, I have a 3-hour interview today. I don't want to do it anymore. Problem. If you have another EP coming out, within the end,
come back.
We'll do it again. Absolutely. I love having people come back on. It's so nice.
Yeah, that was fun talking to him.
He was cool.
He's fun. I like his music, but it does make me feel better when I listen to him.
He's got just such a positive outlook, and I don't. And so it's like, I don't see rainbows, but
yeah, I don't know.
It does sort of change. You're like, I'm having a bad day, so I'm going to listen to him. And it's like, I'm still having a bad day, but I'm not as nasty about it. That was a fun interview. I enjoyed it. It
was fun. It was very light and upbeat. And I noticed that you didn't cuss as much as you normally do. So I must commend you on your ability to control that dirty mouth of yours.
Don't get fucking used to it, okay?
But anyway.
Well, okay. Brent, thank you for being back.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming back. I thought for a second, I was like, he better come back. I'm starting to think he's not coming back.
No, I thought you and Sound Animal did a great job. I love y'all's chemistry.
I dig her. When I go to visit family, I'm gonna go see her in person.
Well, y'all should record some more episodes too. We should do that 3-way I was talking about. No, it would be cool. We got some cool personalities going on there. I mean, it'll be chaos. Especially
it's gonna be utter fucking chaos. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All right.
I'm gonna let you go get to that new baby.
I will.
Before it starts making noise. And listeners, make sure you're getting out there and make sure you're liking, following, subscribing. Click on those links below. Show the artist some love and make some noise.
Hey, also make some noise, but also make some comments.
Yeah.
If visit the artist, give them a thumbs up. Say you
That's
look very
part of
pretty
making
today.
noise.
You're punctual. You have a nice fragrance. Just let them know you're there.
Yeah, let them know.
Because like they were saying earlier, a lot of musicians are having a hard time, and just a kind word